All right, folks, welcome in a Friday Eve here on this October the 3rd. Hope you're having a good start to your morning. Kicking off the first hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Yes, it is Mornings in Meridian. Of course, our number, the talk line, is 601-485-9191. Of course, we're online, WALTmeridian.com, Facebook Live, YouTube, and, of course, that wonderful WALT mobile app. Pretty simple to download that. Just go to wherever you get your apps and search WALT 102.1, and then you can listen right there on your somewhat smart device. Sometimes they're dumb, but they call them a smart device. But anyway, you got Rob in this morning. Good morning, folks. And he is here for a rare Thursday appearance. Charles Frazier.
Good morning.
You trying to remember what day it is?
I never know what day it is anyway. Well, I have this little watch that shows me the day, so I got to look at it. Of course, I can't see it, so I'm like, "What is that?"
So what is that little?
Those three little letters there.
That's Thursday.
Yeah, I think that says that.
So, but I appreciate you coming in here on a Thursday as Burke is still gone.
AWOL.
Can we call it Roger's show anymore?
I don't know. I mean, we could, but I don't think it'd be accurate. You know, you can call anything these days.
I just hope he's here on October the 11th. That's all I ask is be here on October the 11th. But we do have a pinch hitter in Toby Bates if we need to, because that's the big wedding day here in the studio.
Well, he's going to conduct the ceremony, so yeah, I guess Roger really needs to.
Yeah, he really needs to be here on the 11th. So of all days, please be here on the 11th, sir.
Well, as we talked about, though, in 24 hours, I think you can get a license to do that, or whatever that is. I don't even know if it's a license or what.
So, but just be there. Please be here next Friday.
Yes,
please, pretty please.
All right.
A lot to cover this morning. President Biden visits South and North Carolina and gets very preachy behind the microphone yesterday, and we'll play some of that audio from I guess his little appearance yesterday in the Carolinas. Also, I got some local news to let you know about. The city council had their meeting back on Tuesday. I know we didn't get a chance to jump into that yesterday because obviously it was a lot of VP debate talk yesterday and some other issues. So we'll get into a lot of money being spent on assessments. Yeah. So we'll get into that coming up as well. And more details about this port strike with the workers. This one guy is just unbelievable. One of these workers. So, but we got some audio that you were able to dig up yesterday, and we'll play that coming up here on the program. And of course, we'll take your calls at 485-9191. Of course, still continuing to think about the folks up there. They're still dealing with the devastation. They are reporting now Helene has left at least 191 dead. Wow. So unfortunately, those numbers are slowly ticking up, and just hate it. It's
so remote that, as they get to those areas that are cut off, then they're finding more and more bodies, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it is tough stuff. So I saw someone had shared a map on yesterday that there are some roads there in the Carolinas. I want to say it's right there in western North Carolina that's getting a lot of the coverage, obviously. Some of these roads are not going to be open till possibly next month, and maybe not even until January. Well, so that is crazy.
And I saw a graphic that said it was two interstates, I believe, that we're looking at March or September of next year.
Good Lord.
And I don't know how accurate that is. There's a lot of different rumors going around. It looked to be an official kind of estimate of when the repairs would be completed. But that is absolutely insane.
Just shows you right there. But got a lot to get into on that story as well, especially Alejandro Mayorkas saying that we don't have enough money. FEMA doesn't have enough money if another hurricane hits.
Bet we could go to Zelensky and borrow some. What do you think?
Ooh.
Hey, can we get some of that back?
Yeah. Can we get a refund, please? Yeah. So we'll get into all of that. So very busy show this morning. And hey, our show is made possible by a lot of great local advertisers. And of course, don't be a dumb bunny. Go down to Battery One Source.
That's exactly right. 2618 North Frontage Road, in between exit 152 and 153 is where you will find John Dufour and his crew of battery experts. They've got batteries for every need and description. Watches, remote cell phones, even laptop computers. I always say it, if your laptop computer doesn't have a battery, well, you're a dumb bunny, but don't be. And it's a desktop at that point. But making a laptop, once again, go see John Dufour and his crew. And, of course, they've got the best cell phone repair guy in the business. Yeah, bring it in for that quick fix. And if your golf cart ain't running, well, bring it down there as well, because they also do golf cart service and repair. What don't they do over there? Pretty much everything you need. You know, Battery One Source is your one source for all batteries. 2618 North Frontage Road. Give them a call. 601-693-1500. Open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
Thank you, John Dufour.
He's a good man.
Absolutely. Quoting the Meridian Star this morning, got a publication of the paper, and they went into a very great detail about the city council meeting earlier this week. And Charles, there's a lot of numbers being thrown around this morning.
Those numbers have dollar signs in front of them.
Yeah, a lot of dollar signs. I'll just go into the article here. I appreciate Thomas Howard and his fine work down there at the paper. A detailed assessment of Meridian's 67 wastewater pump stations is moving forward after the city council signed off on the project in its regularly scheduled meeting on Tuesday. Now, pump stations are installed at key areas along the city's network of sewer pipes to push wastewater toward the city's 2 wastewater treatment plants, and an assessment of the stations is a required component of the federal consent decree. Now, I stopped there to say this, and you brought up a good point before we jumped on the air this morning. Have we gone through one of these assessments before? I'm trying to wrap my mind around that particular part of that. Have we gone through something
like
similar?
And I know that there's been a lot of surveys of sewer and freshwater systems. So, I thought that there was something like that. I hope that they wouldn't do a redundant survey, because I think that we could look at information from 2 to 3 years ago.
Sure.
And a lot of that would still be valid.
Yeah.
But, and what was the cost of this?
I'm getting to that here.
I'm sorry.
Jason Galt of Kimley Horn, an engineering firm contracted with the city to manage projects involving the city's wastewater infrastructure, told the council in a recent work session that the assessment will be far more in-depth than anything the city has previously done. Okay. Physical inspections at each of the pump stations will be conducted, he said, and ideal flow rates, how much water moves through the station and how fast, will be calculated and compared to how the stations are currently performing. The assessment, which will cost the city $456,000, will also include needed repairs and upgrades for the pump stations, as well as a prioritized list to help the city know what projects it should tackle first, according to Mr. Galt there in the work session recently. So $456,000 for the assessment.
Well, assessment and repairs.
So
there are some improvements to go along with that. And I've got to say that this is something that really needs to be addressed, and I think that the city council is doing the right thing. This isn't something that you drive on a road and you think, oh, that's great. Hey, look, I got my road paved. I like my city councilman for that. But Jackson, we can look at them as an example of not what to do. It's not one of those political things or politically expedient things. I should say
it's not sexy, man.
It ain't sexy at all, and so it needs to be done. And so, I don't want to say hats off to him. I think I assume that this is a needed assessment, and that the previous assessment or whatever was spent on kind of looking at sewage and fresh water, that this is another component of that. Of course, if they get to it and assess it and say, we need, $500 million worth of of repairs or whatever that's going to be, then that's going to be a whole other hurdle. But
let's have another bond issue.
But let's find out what's going on anyway. And we've got an older city with older infrastructure, and so these things, I mean, it does need to be looked at.
Yeah. Councilman Dwayne Davis said he was under the impression the city already has someone tasked with monitoring and maintaining pump stations. Why, he asked, should the city pay Kimley Horn to do work it is already paying someone else to do? While the city does indeed have someone responsible for maintaining the wastewater pump stations, they are not equipped to take on the workload the assessment will require. So you do have folks in the position, but as far as assessment goes, according to, I guess, maybe other members of the council or maybe this firm, you got folks that are in place to do the job, but as far as assessing what needs to be done.
But isn't that an independent contractor who's monitoring that? And then why do we not have an independent contractor who is capable of doing those things? So that would be something that should be looked into, that maybe we went with the wrong contractor who didn't have the capabilities to look at assessing all of these things. And I don't know if there is such a contractor out there, either locally or on the statewide level.
Yeah, in making the assessment, he said engineers will need to design all 67 pump stations and calculate critical response time, or the time between a critical alert at a pump station and a sanitary sewer overflow, the prevention of which is the driving goal behind the entire consent decree. Just quoting here, one of the Wagoneer Engineering, David Rule, he said, "You don't have anyone with the current resources workload who can do what's required under this task order." That was according to David Rule from Wagoneer Engineering, who helps oversee work related to the consent decree. Said engineers will also be looking at where the city's pump stations are located and whether all 67 are truly needed. And it goes on to say the stations have been installed in a piecemeal fashion as the city grew, he said, and there could be a potential cost savings if some stations can be combined or eliminated. Okay, so trying to find a way to save money potentially there. Pump stations are not cheap. One of the engineers said, with the city's smallest estimated at $500,000. The total cost to make all needed repairs and upgrades to the jump stations, or pump stations, rather, excuse me. The estimated cost for the entirety would be $20 to $30 million. So there's your millions number there.
Okay.
The work, however, will not have to be done all at once, and the city will be able to chip away at it throughout the life of the consent decree. So altogether, with 67 there, $20 to $30 million. That's looking at the entire project, but obviously you don't have the funds to do the entire thing. Well, like I said, chip away at it.
But that would also be, I would assume, without eliminating some of those redundant stations. So that, you know, once you start looking at that, assessing that, saying we don't need this one,
that would cut that total down a little bit.
You can actually cut it even more.
Also on Tuesday, the city council awarded a project to make improvements at the East Wastewater Treatment Plant to Hemp Hill Construction for a total cost of $1,076,000. Let's see. James Lawson with Neil Schaefer, Inc., an engineering firm overseeing work on the city's 2 wastewater treatment plants, said the construction project is needed to bring more of the city's wastewater to the East plant. While smaller than the South plant, the East Wastewater Treatment Plant is underutilized and has the capacity to treat more water than it currently receives. Taking advantage of that capacity will take some of the load off of the South plant, which currently handles the majority of the city's wastewater. So they're going to do that. And council members also voted to approve the purchase of a new coarse bar screen at the South Wastewater Treatment Plant, and the cost of $270,000 plus. The screen filters out large debris in the wastewater arriving at the plant, prevents it from moving further into the treatment system where it could potentially damage equipment. So that's a very much needed piece of equipment, because if you don't have that in there, engineers say the cost of damage would be up into the millions if that were to happen. So that was one of those required pieces of equipment there for the South Station. So some big numbers being thrown around there, and looks like they're going to chip away at this over time. And so that's what your city council worked on back on Tuesday at their meeting. Just want to
keep the sewage flowing.
One of the big projects.
Yeah, well, sewage and the city council kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
So we've had we had 2 big meetings here recently. Of course, the budget meeting we talked about last week.
Police budget,
$12.2 million.
Wow.
And now more money being spent in a very important area.
Keep that poop flowing.
Yeah, we got it.
It's got to flow good through, through those.
I don't want to buy my house.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things we just, it's tough issues to tackle, but it's just stuff that's got to get done.
Yeah.
It's just got to get
done. It's the operation of the city. So
absolutely.
It needs to be done. Definitely.
Yeah. So, because like you said, that is aging stuff that we don't see driving around town all the time.
We don't want to ignore it just because it's underground.
Yeah. But it sounds like to me there toward the end of the article right there, talking about the South plant. The smaller, while smaller than the South plant, the East plant does handle a lot of the wastewater. So it sounds like they're trying to maybe use that other
move
plant.
Some of that poop east.
Yeah.
If you live in the east, watch out. It's coming your way. Wow.
So $456,000 for the assessment. And of course, the other totals right there we just gave you.
Sure. Okay.
So a lot of money moving around. a lot of money moving around.
And a lot of money. Now, in that 450, there are some repairs that are included with that. So it's not all assessment, because if it was, we think, wow, we're just spending more money to get a report, but there are some repairs involved with that.
Yep. So city council making some decisions there. And of course, it sounds like to me, Dwayne Davis was the only one kind of questioning, we've already got folks in place to do this, but the engineering firm said, you got those folks, but as far as having qualifications to assess, what needs to be done, that's why they're bringing this firm in to do that.
Another engineering firm.
Okay. How many engineers are in charge here?
485.
Exactly.
All right.
601-485-9191. If you got thoughts on this or anything else going on locally, hit us up on the talk line at 485-9191. And big thanks as always to our local sponsors. And next on the list is a good friend of ours. He's doing a great job over in Jackson as our representative here locally. And that's our good buddy, Billy Adam Calvert, and the staff down at Southern Business Supply.
That's right. Locally family owned and operated for 38 years. Didn't realize they've been in business that long. That is a long time. And of course, they'll service Meridian and all surrounding areas. They will deliver all office supplies from southernbusinesssupply.com. Whatever you need, whether that's staplers, paper, filing cabinets, you name it, they've got it all. They also have full lines of office furniture. You need a new chair, they'll bring it to you.
Yes.
Can't beat that. Check them out online. What I do is I go to southernbusinesssupply.com. All my info is already populated there because I've ordered from them before. And then I just click on what I need, and it is brought to my business the next day. Can't beat that. It's better than anything online. Those big ones online, like starting with an A, or the big box stores. Of course, you want to stay away from them and buy local. And, of course, you can go down to their showroom at 5685 Dale Drive. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Give them a call, 601-485-2447. But it's just so easy to go to southernbusinesssupply.com and order what you need. When you buy local, your money stays here. It doesn't go anywhere else. Say no to the big box stores and say yes to southernbusinesssupply.com.
Big shout out to, of course, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. A lot of events going on here locally over the next several days. And today it is Canvases for Cancer. It is set for this evening, an auction featuring donated art from talented local and regional artists with the intention of supporting cancer patients in the community. It's slated for tonight in downtown Meridian. Canvases for Cancer will be held tonight, 6 until 8:30. At the MSU Riley Center. It's an annual art auction benefiting the Baptist Cancer Center, Anderson. And of course, if you want tickets for that event, they're $25 if you purchase them online through that organization. It's Canvases for Cancer tickets through the Riley Center. And like I said, proceeds will go for the Baptist Cancer Center. So a lot of local artists are going to be involved in this tonight. Looks like more than 40 works are being donated by area artists for this auction tonight. So good on some of those folks. They got a lot of their names mentioned here. Talking about Daniel Etheridge, Frankie Harrison, just naming off some, Kim Giannakis. I mean, you name it. They're all donating art for this event tonight. So just another great way of supporting cancer research. And I tell you what, Baptist Anderson does a great job with this as well.
Yeah, it's a good event. Get down there.
So just wanted to give a little shout out this morning. Tickets are still available, pre-purchased at $25. So that's tonight at the Riley Center from 6 until 8:30. And of course, that's not the only event going on in downtown. I think there's like a flood of events going on over the next several days.
Several days, you're right. Yeah.
So it's going to be busy. You got full moon on 5th tomorrow night. Of course, Earth's Bounty on Saturday morning. We got just so much going on. That's just kind of the first peel of the onion right there. So, but get out and support all these folks. I know we always talk about the bad stuff going on in Meridian with crime and whatnot, and we always have fun with the city council. But and board of supervisors, you're not you're not exempt either.
No, indeed, that's right,
JJ, and
love them.
Love you to death.
Yeah, that's right.
But get out and support these events. Yeah, full moon on 5th tomorrow night in downtown Earth's Bounty. Of course, it's full moon on the rails is what they're calling it going into tomorrow night. Yeah, full moon on 5th returns tomorrow night 6 to 9. But they're going to call it full moon on rails. Of course, Meridian's big block party.
Sure.
So if you don't do the high school, if you don't do the high school football thing, is another option.
So that'll be down by the train station.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the rails.
Yeah, they're going to do. Of course, they're doing some work right there on 5th Street, right in front of the Riley Center. So that's the reason they're going to be moving it down there. And they're going to kind of tweak the name a little bit with Full Moon on Rails. Of course, that's going to be a 3-hour block party from 6 until 9 tomorrow night. A lot of live music and food and some drinks and a lot of other cool stuff.
Bit of that.
So there you go. 601-485-9191. I know we're right up against a break here, but when we come back, I got a couple of pieces of audio we're going to play. If you were listening to the show yesterday, we played some audio from one of these Teamster guys, one of these union workers. And this is a little bit of a longer piece of audio, but this guy, I believe he's from Baltimore, New Jersey, somewhere up in that area. But we'll play that coming up. And also Biden in the Carolinas yesterday.
We got audio of him?
Yeah, we do have audio of him. We hadn't heard from Biden in a while.
It's been nice.
Let's take a phone call before our break here. Hey, caller, good morning. Oh.
Teasing us.
Yeah, no, you are teasing us. So, but yeah, Biden was in the Carolinas yesterday with FEMA, and according to Alejandro Mayorkas, we don't have enough money in FEMA if we get another hurricane that's devastating, which is a little eye-opening, I think, right?
Yeah.
Which is very, very eye-opening. I think that we don't have the money. Man, that's a heck of a time to say that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Alejandro.
Come on, man.
So, but
in the middle of hurricane season.
Yeah, because hurricane season, Mr. Mayorkas, does not end until the end of November.
Right. We got 2 months left.
So, but yeah, climate change and hurricanes. That's where the president went yesterday, as people are still not accounted for, still stranded, and still trying to pick up the pieces after this devastating storm. And we're talking about climate change. So we'll get into all of that coming up, and take more of your phone calls as well at 485-9191. As always, thanks for making us the start to your Thursday morning. Robin Charles with you on Mornings in Meridian. We'll be back.
I'm a little lover boy. Yeah, I love my baby, heart and soul.
Oh, man, what a great guitarist he was. Stevie Ray Vaughan. He would have been 70 years old today, Mr. Frazier.
Wow.
Lost him back in 1990.
Way too soon.
Absolutely. So a lot of birthdays on the list today. Gwen Stefani is 55 years old today. Of course, that's Blake Shelton's lady. After he...
Mrs. Shelton?
Mrs. Shelton, after he was married to Miranda Lambert there for a short time.
About 2 weeks.
Yeah. Tommy Lee. When I told you this guy's age during the break, you were like, man, I thought he's older than that. Tommy Lee is 62 today.
Yeah. I thought it was mid-70s, something like
Exactly.
that. I don't know. Of course, I thought it was mid-70s about 20 years ago.
I was about to say he looks every bit of 62 and more.
Just giving Keith Richards a run for his money.
Exactly. Lindsey Buckingham, 75 today. Of course, we might play some Holiday Road
I
a
think
little
we
bit
should.
later on.
Yep.
Let's see. Nev Campbell, of course, Party of Five in the Scream franchise. She is 51 today. Let's see. Clive Owen is 60 today, been in a handful of movies. And Sean William Scott, of course, he played Stifler in the American Pie movies. He is 48 today. So that's just a handful of folks in the entertainment world that are celebrating a birthday here on this third day of October 2024. And if you're celebrating a birthday, get yourself something nice.
Something real nice.
Absolutely. Well, I got a good recommendation of where you can get something really nice if you just want to really spoil yourselves. And that's taking the short drive to Philadelphia, I believe, right?
Up in Philly, that's right. You will find Doc's Toyota.
Woohoo.
All kinds of 2024 Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runners, Highlanders, Prius, Pre-I, and of course, the brand new Land Cruisers. Good looking vehicle there. They also have a very large, some might say huge selection of pre-owned inventory, all been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection process. So you know you're getting a good quality used car. That's very important. And of course, you can check them out online. They have all their inventory listed there, docstoyota.com. They have the new inventory and the pre-owned inventory as well. So you can check it all out before you take that short trip up there and go buy it. You can even buy it online if you prefer, though. Doc's Toyota right up there on Highway 16 West in Philadelphia. Of course, their service department is second to none. They are just great folks. And I tell you what, all dealerships have deals. You can get an air fryer, toaster, who knows, $200 cash. That's nothing. We scoff at those because out of all those deals, there is
no deal like a Doc's deal. Absolutely. So we played some audio for you yesterday on the show. If you missed it, of course, we talked about the big port strike that's going on right now.
Yeah.
There is one guy that is... I wouldn't say he's like the figurehead. Well, he is the figurehead that is really leading the charge here. And I know his last name is Daggett.
Harold is the first name.
Harold Daggett. And I found a article here on the New York Post, kind of a background on Mr. Daggett. Daggett is a figure whose long union career has been shrouded in controversy. A third-generation ILA member, which is the International Long Haulers Association. The longshoreman has worked for the union for 57 years, becoming the international president in July of 2011. Despite his blue-collar credentials, the union baron earned $728,000 last year from the ILA, plus another $173,000 as president emeritus of a local union branch, Politico reported as well. He previously owned a 76-foot yacht, the Obsession, and has been spotted by his members riding in a Bentley, according to the New York Times. The Justice Department, which has reportedly lost 2 cases against Mr. Daggett, has accused him of being an associate of a crime family.
What?
One of the infamous 5 families of the U.S. Mafia.
Ooh.
What? Yeah.
He's in front of Tony Soprano.
Charged with racketeering in 2005, Mr. Daggett took the witness stand and portrayed himself as a mob target, despite evidence against him from a turncoat mafia enforcer saying he was under the mob's control, the New York Times reported. During that trial, one of Mr. Daggett's co-defendants, a renowned mobster named Lawrence Reese, disappeared. His decomposing body was
Oh.
found in the trunk of a car outside a New Jersey diner several weeks later, with the killing still unsolved. Despite his union serving as a historic symbol of the grip of organized crime on union members, as depicted in the 1954 film On the Waterfront, Mr. Daggett was
Could have been a contender.
Yeah, he was acquitted in both cases. The union leader was previously criticized the Waterfront Commission set up to combat mafia control of the port, calling the allegations of mob influence total BS and a dark, ugly attack on Italian Americans.
Oh.
So this guy, who we have heard from a lot over the last several days, has mob ties in the past. He's been tried, but has got away from some of these charges, and he has a yacht and drives a Bentley.
Nice.
And this is the guy who is basically the tongue for the workers.
Well, yeah, it sure sounds like he's the one who's really pushing for this strike as well. And how much? What's the impact of this? Economic impact on a daily basis? $5 billion. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So you know that if organized crime is involved, then that money is. There's a lot of money at stake and at play, and I guess there would be a lot of money in the negotiations as well. So what is really going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, you found this piece of audio yesterday and sent it to me, and it's about 2.5 minutes, but this is this same guy we just talked about, gave you his checkered history,
right,
and what he is like, I've been like in the past. But this is this union leader. What's his first name again? Harold Taggart. Daggett. And this is what agency is this here? It's on Russ Latino's Twitter page. So we'll go ahead and play this for folks out there. Yeah, this is the guy speaking for the workers. Try this again here. Older computer. Let's try that. And we are off and running.
But today's world, it's changing into the future. They're not making millions no more. They're making billions. And they're spending it fast as they make it. I want a piece of that for my men. Because when they made their most money was during COVID. When my men had to go to work on those piers every single day. When everybody stayed home and went to work. Not my men. They died out there with the virus. We all got sick with the virus. We kept them going. From Canada to Maine to Texas, Great Lakes, Puerto Rico, now the Bahamas. Everybody went to work during COVID. Nobody stayed home. Well, I want to be compensated for that. I'm not asking for the world. They know what I want. They know what I want. And if they don't, well, then I have to go into the street and we have to fight for what we rightfully deserve. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the company's money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. In today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you. And you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
Wow.
That is the single best argument for automation that I have ever heard. I mean, you want to, and that's what he's arguing against. That's what he doesn't want. But he's making sure that every port in this nation is going to go automated. They have to. I mean, why would you even begin to deal with something like that? It's insane. And the ego, the power that he has is extraordinary.
Yeah.
He's talking about Taft-Hartley. Taft-Hartley is I guess a presidential kind of injunction where they force strike workers to go back to work.
Sure.
I think for a 90-day kind of cooling off period. But as he's saying, we're not going to do our job then anyway. You're going to make us go to work, but we're just going to go.
And of course, what these, and of course, him representing the workers, it's 45,000 plus of these folks that are on the picket line right now. We keep reporting. We've been reporting this since they started striking. What was it, midnight on Monday night, Tuesday evening, or Tuesday morning rather. Over the 6-year contract, they are wanting a 77% raise. It would go up to nearly $70 an hour for these particular workers. But yeah, this is a very damning piece of audio right here from this gentleman. And then, of course, I believe this was right before the strike happened, is when he sat down for that interview right there and basically said, we'll cripple you.
Yeah.
We'll cripple you.
And there's some statistics about what they generally make. And usually it's about 81,000. There's a lot of overtime involved. 1/3 of longshoremen in New York Harbor made over $200,000. 1/3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Over $200,000. And they want an 80%, 77% increase. Absolutely insane.
It is. So let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Lefty here.
Hello, sir.
Just had to comment on that mob guy.
He sound like a mob guy.
Yeah,
Forget about it, huh?
I will cripple you.
Doesn't he have a history to prove he is a mob guy?
Yeah, we read off his history a second ago. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but which is the lesser of two evils? Giving them what they want, or losing $1 billion a day and everything being held up?
Try $5 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a stranglehold.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the option? Well, there's not one as long as the union's involved, a business within a business, and that's all that, in my opinion, that's all a union is anyway. All they ever have been. And look at what that guy's got, a yacht and a Bentley and, damn near $1 million a year.
Yes,
he's a real man of the people, isn't he?
Yeah, the union baron earned $728,000 last year from the IL, plus another $173,000 as the president
emeritus of a local chapter
of a local
crazy
local union branch.
Yeah,
I mean, gosh.
Yeah, well, that's just proof right there. It's never enough, especially when a third of them's making over $200,000 a year. I mean, man, somebody get the stethoscope out to hear my heart dripping for these poor guys. These they're struggling, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
struggling. So, but I hate to say it. Like I said, it's the lesser of two evils. Give them what they want, and keep it rolling. Because as compared to what we're going to lose and what's going to be hurt because of it, it's the lesser of two evils, I guess. I mean, what other options are there when there's a union involved?
Well, and I agree with this gentleman in one aspect, though. You think about it right now, we're in that first week where it's been talked about. We're talking about it. News is talking about it. And then by week 2 or week 3, you're going to start to see stuff not coming to car dealerships and materials and stuff like that. So that is coming if this continues on. So,
well, another example of why we shouldn't be dependent on China.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, now that's probably mostly West Coast, and they're not on strike.
Yeah.
So the Chinese are laughing, going, great, order more of our stuff. It's the Europeans, everything we send to Europe and everything they send to us. That's got to be the East Coast ports, And
there's a lot of perishable items that are just going to be sitting on ships,
but
they're not
oil
moving
and things like that as well.
Not moving.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well,
I tell you right now, I drove up the East Coast all the way to almost New York City, and you drive through Baltimore and you see I'm telling you right now, it's incredible. It's just mile after mile after mile of industry and ships coming in. And, if anybody ever thought they could beat this country conventionally, militarily, ask the Japanese, buddy. There's just no way. There is no way there's there's so much stuff coming in and going out, and just industry, and you can see it. It's incredible the amount of material that is coming and going, especially the Baltimore Port area. It was just eye-opening, put it that way. I've never seen anything like it, and that was 20 years ago. 20 plus.
Wow.
But anyway, well, I'm waiting for the Haz's prophecy or his slant on this, but not too many folks down here that are Union fans, and this is a good example of why, a right to work state, Mississippi, is. But that's what a union's going to get you. They're going to have you by the throat, and when they don't get what they want, they're going to start clamping down.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. Everybody's got one, but anyway, I'm just listening in, fixing to go walk the dogs on cup number 2.
Cup number 2. All right, Lefty, appreciate you.
Y'all have a good one.
All right, there you go. So, but yeah, this is wow,
major concern. And you look and say, okay, so we've eliminated all the Eastern Seaboard ports, and you wonder, can Canada and Mexico accommodate any of that? And we just bring that stuff down, and I don't think they can accommodate the sheer volume that goes through all of these ports. But it might alleviate some of that pressure. But obviously the West Coast ports are still open, so we can still bring in product that way. But is it enough? No, it's not nearly.
Folks, these are ports from New Jersey, Baltimore, down the Eastern Seaboard to
Savannah, all in Florida.
Mobile, Houston, New Orleans. It's all of them are shut down right now. These folks are on strike. So let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
MAGA morning, true American patriots.
Oh, speaking of someone who's not a mob boss, well, maybe a local mob boss.
I'm a made man.
Well, this guy right here, is in one of the 5 families up there. So,
well, here's an example of leadership. If Trump was still the president, when the rain would still be falling, Trump would be down there on site. And the full power of the federal government would be down there helping them people. And we'd have plenty of money because we would have stopped the invasion of the illegal alien criminal invaders. We got plenty of money for them. We got plenty of money for Ukraine and everybody else on earth. This is American taxpayer money, and it needs to be spent on this piece of dirt. Also, with the Israeli attack from Iran, Trump would be in the war room 3 o'clock in the morning with the generals and admirals. Where do we need to position? Where do we need to marshal our resources so when it breaks loose, we can go to the aid of Israel? That's a common enemy of not only Israel and America, but of anybody that wants freedom in the world, Iran. It should have been dealt with Ronnie Reagan. They should have turned it into a glass parking lot.
Did you see the dictator? Did you see the numbers real quick? You talked about leadership, but I saw this number this morning where Biden has spent 8% of his presidency on vacation or at the beach.
Oh yeah,
8%.
At the beach, like some muttering old fool up there with a blanket. No, it's like this little guy in the ports and the shutdown and stuff like that. Trump would have made him go back to work. If y'all remember the Patco fiasco of Reagan, Reagan put the military in the control towers and told Patco to go hunt another job. Now, this right here, this guy, his little mob tie, this is nothing more than pure extortion. And unlike the caller before me, you give in to it. What are you going to do next time? You're going to stand up to them next time? No, you're setting a precedent. And this is part of national security and national economy. And Trump would make them go back to work. But see, you have no leadership. And if the demon cats get elected in November, I'm pretty much sure America will just about be done. It'll be in the trash bin of history because look at what will replace Biden. And our enemies are cheering it on, man. If the demon cats take office, China will move on Taiwan. North Korea, they've been wanting to move on South Korea. What's going to stop them? 25,000 Americans on the DMZ? Not likely. And, Russia they'll either go tactical nukes or chemical warfare with Ukraine. Because I say no, nobody's going to give them any resistance. And here Biden, he wouldn't back Israel's attack on the nuclear sites. Well, what are we going to wait for until they go nuclear over there and intimidate everybody, not just Israel, anybody in that region with nuclear weapons? No, that stuff should have long since been eliminated. Trump would have been on the blower to Netanyahu. What do you need over there? How can we help you? We got bigger, baddest bombs of anybody in the earth. What do you need, boys? Because the enemy of Israel is also our enemy. This is the same bunch and the same mindset that brought us 9/11. And yet we've got fools in this country championing the terrorist, burning American flags, flying Palestinian flags, death to Israel, death to America in our own country. Now, does anybody else see something wrong with this picture? Or is it just me? But like these little piss ants like this damn union boss deal, that's pure extortion. And if we had Trump in the White House, he'd put him in his place. And he'd be up there, forget about it, is what Trump would tell him. Forget about it. Yeah, because it ain't happening. You're not shutting this country down. We'll replace you. We'll put the military in there. Surely somebody in the military can operate that gear or learn to operate it. But those ports would step in, and the economy and this would run with or without these people. There's nobody in this place that's irreplaceable. The idea of the irreplaceable man is a myth, like a unicorn. There's somebody else can do that job too. But to give in to these people is just like the hostage deal. When you give in to the enemy, you're setting yourself up for future failures. You will never regain that strength and power back again. And if Israel had to give them the Gaza and tried to broker peace and all this other mess, it has never worked. Your enemy sees it as a weakness, which it is, and Israel needs to complete the job. Strike the oil fields where the money is, strike the centrifuges, and strike the power and command and control centers.
We got
whatever it takes to take it out, let it rip.
We got to run, buddy.
Roger that.
All right, we'll be back.
This is Debbie Blocker of
Hey, welcome back to Mornings of Meridian. Hey, hope you're having a good morning,
Hey, we should go on strike.
Go
Hey,
on
go on strike.
Hey, we're going to
Show
take
you word
some
for word.
notes here from Mr. Daggett here, you know what I'm saying? So,
Hey, and one thing that he said, and I know we're going back to referencing something that.
the union strike. Welcome back in 601-485-9191. Thanks for listening to Mornings of Meridian. But Charles, you had a brilliant idea during the break.
Yeah, I think so. You've got all these workers on strike. What, 25,000, 30,000?
45,000 plus.
45,000 plus.
Plus.
How many illegal immigrants do we have in the country? Who are looking for work? Most of them.
Cheap labor.
Hey, we have some job openings on the ports. Yeah. I mean, just an idea.
Yeah, you probably get them to work for pretty cheap, right?
Well, if we're paying them $200,000 a year, I bet they do it for 50, and would not complain and be happy. As I'm sure most people would, and be like, okay, fine, that's not bad, we'll do that.
Yeah. But
and no unions.
Yeah. In case you missed it, we did play a piece of audio from the, I guess, the union boss. He's a local union boss from up in New Jersey who has mafia ties and
drives a Bentley. That's weird.
And he's got a yacht too, by the way. So he's really hurting up there. So, but
the sacrifice he's making.
Exactly. Before we take our next phone call, caller, hang on the line just a moment because we need to head down to exit 150 just off the interstate and thank our good friends at the Magnolia Restaurant, Queen City Truck Stop, where you can get you a nice hot breakfast to start the day or one of their fantastic lunch items. And I tell you what, food is always delicious there at the Magnolia Restaurant.
I mean, the service is fantastic too. As you said, exit 150, you can call them and you call them from the office. By the time you get up there at exit 150, the food is hot and ready to go.
Ready to go.
Can't beat that. 601-482-0259 is their number. Thursday, we got pot roast. Oof. We got fried pork chops, hamburger steak with onions and gravy, chicken pan pie. God, that sounds great. And, of course, the veggie plates. They've always got the humongous hamburger, also known as the
huge.
Well, the biggie burger, but it is huge. And the long haul breakfast as well. That thing will keep you going all day long. If you're a long haul truck driver, even if you're not, that is a breakfast that'll fill you up. Go check them out. The Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop, exit 150, 601-482-0259. The service is friendly. The coffee is hot. The air is cold. You always meet somebody interesting up there at the Magnolia Restaurant.
All right, let's go to the phone line. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Rob and Charles. How are you today?
Hello, sir. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm great, and my mouth waters, and I can't wait till Friday, Fish Friday for Magnolia Restaurant.
It is the best day of the week, no doubt about it.
Yes, they're all good, but I guess that one tops it a little bit. I couldn't help but think about this longshoreman and the dock workers strike, and reminds, first off, Ronald Reagan had to ride out. He give them so many days to go back to work or fire every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They are not not unreplaceable. Everybody's replaceable. But it reminds me of a story back in World War II. I don't know a whole lot about the facts, but I do remember hearing it. FDR had the same problem with a mafia-run docks up around the New York area during the war. He had to work a deal with them to get them back online. And I don't know a whole lot about it, details about it, but I just heard a little rumors and that sort of thing about it. He had to deal with them running the docks. They were slowing down, and we need all those materials for the war and this, that, and other. And he dealt with them some way. And I think what he had to do is yield to them and pay them off. But I don't know all the facts. I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows about it. But they extortion is what I call it, when they know they can cripple the country, do it automatically, and their wages already are so above the average person in the United States. What they make, they feel full of greed and I don't know. All I got to say is this: he's trying to extortion. That's all I know calling.
Well, and we're talking about a guy, Mr. Benny. I don't know if you heard the audio that we played during the last hour of this local union branch boss, I guess you would say, the union member right here. But I mean, this guy's driving a Bentley. He's got a 76-foot yacht, and he's making nearly $1 million a year as a local branch union.
Well, no, he's
president.
the head of it.
He's the head of
about
it.
175, I think,
Just
as
off of that.
president emeritus. When he's not even the active president.
Yeah.
He's the past president.
And he's talking about we're going to cripple, this economy is going to cripple, and we want this 77% raise for our workers out there.
Absurd. Absolutely absurd. Sickening.
Mm.
Well, that's mafia control. That's what I go back and think about. It's run by the underground world people, and it's been happening, and it's going to continue. And if they yield to them, in my opinion, if Donald was up there, I bet you he'd fire every one of them. Now, I'm sure there's somebody out there between automation and people that's out of work would like to have those jobs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's my comment, so I'll hang up and let some intelligent people call. So,
well, before we let you go here, I heard you were going to be here with us next Friday. Is that true? Am I catching that correctly?
Yes, I'm planning on being there with bells. Well, I don't have any bells, but I have my glad rags on up.
All right.
This white blue jeans can wear them.
It's going to be a big event here next Friday. Looking forward to it. So,
absolutely. Well, I look forward to it, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Oh, man.
How can we not after that?
No matter what's happening in the world, as long as I get that at least once or twice a week, I'm just a better person, and I think you all are as well. So
yeah, I know I am.
There you go. Phone line ringing up here. Let's go back to it at 485-9191. Hey, caller, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Hey, morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing great. How about yourself?
All right. Any chance I could play devil's advocate to this whole mob boss union?
Do it.
Sure. Come on in.
Just to crunch some numbers. Do you guys know what the average increase of the shipping container from Europe is in the last 6 months?
Tell us.
Well, it's okay. It's 30% from the last 6 months, which is up about almost. It's 190% in the last 12 months.
As far as
from
cost
Asia,
or volume, I'm sorry.
Cost.
Okay,
sorry.
Okay. No, that's
30% increase. 30% increase in the last 6 months. 190% increase the last 12 months from Europe. 29% increase from Asia in the last 6 months, which is about a 214% increase in the last 12 months. So, as a union boss, and I say this as a guy that loves living in the right to work state. I think that's why the Southeast has done so well, because all the states are right to work states for the most part. As a union boss, you got your job is to get the most value for your members. Now you guys, a lot of callers have been talking about the 77% increase in the ask. Now, for anyone that's ever bought in a car, you don't go offer MSP, right? You lowball the crud out of them, right? And hopefully to get it to work your way up to where you're still below MSRP. But he's shooting for the moon at a 77% increase. The companies offered around 40%, a 40% increase.
Yeah, I saw a number yesterday that they went to the table yesterday, and it was around that number, and I think they had gotten up a little bit more, maybe around 50%, and still they were balking at that as of yesterday. So
okay, so let's take 50%. Now for us, that's a lot of money, right? It seems like. What's been the cost of it? What's inflation been the last 4 or 5 years? I mean, we're up about 35%.
Sure.
We agree for 30%, 35%.
Yeah, we can go around that.
So let's say 50% increase minus 35% from inflation, right? So you're looking at a 15% increase for your dollar purchasing power, right? And the duration of that contract they're asking for, I think, is over 7 years.
Yeah, 7.
So 15% divided by 7, 2% a year? What's inflation going to be every year?
It depends who's in power.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on where we go after November. Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, as a spitball, that's it. So that's really no increase, right? So if he asks for 77% and he gets 77%, Well, we've already been up 35% for inflation. So that puts us at what, 42% increase? And over 7 years, if inflation goes up 2%, that's 14%, knock 14% off of that. So it leaves around 30% over 7 years, which is what, about a 4% increase in actual purchasing power, which is a raise. I mean, am I wrong or am I right or what's, I don't know. So, you know, and then when Has called in, I love him, man, but him saying Trump would fire everybody, nobody's going to do that. No Democrat or Republican is going to fire people a month before the election. What Trump would do, and this guy sounds a lot like Trump, and that's why I like Trump, because he's going to tell you how it is and come from a position of power and strength when you are there accordingly. He's going to get the union bosses and the CEOs and say, figure it out.
Right.
I think
for everyone, but you know, for everyone that's all up in arms about the cost. I mean, just when you sit down and put some pen to paper and figure out what the actual raise is, because you know you're blown away when you hear 77%. Well, that's ridiculous. Who does that? That's, you know, and they're the bad guys. But when you actually come down to it, that's ultimately it's not a lot when you the cost of inflation and purchasing power, and we all suffer and we all feel that. You know.
Yeah, I think it more than anything else, you know, regardless of the specifics of what the ask is and the justification based on, well, the increase in cost of shipping, but also in the profits of the companies that are bringing it in, it's the guy's attitude. And he kind of has this reckless abandon, and he doesn't care about anybody but his workers. And we're so important. And I think that's the offensive part. And then, you know, this guy needs to explain this and be logical and say, look, this is what we're asking for. This is the reason we're asking for it. And it's certainly a legitimate ask. And the you know, the powers that be, these huge corporations are not willing to negotiate with us, and this is, you know, why we're doing what we're doing, and we don't want to hurt anybody, but this is the unfortunate consequence of these actions. So, you know, but he's not doing that at all, and the arrogance is what's offensive, I think, to a lot of people.
And that's the same thing I was screaming to the TV on the Trump-Biden debate, like you'd be clubbing baby seals if you just could just form out a sentence and tell. I mean, so. But that's where we are. But that's the truth behind the matter.
Well, and you're absolutely right, because we're in a very sensitive time, because we're sitting here on October the 3rd and what's coming up in 33 days, an election. Yeah. So this is not the ideal time for this to happen, because if you're Harris right now, I mean, if you support this strike, then, well, there's a certain voting. There's just so many. There's so many narratives this could be presented to, especially in election year. So
sure. And you look back a couple of years ago when the railroad workers were striking. What did the Democrat administration do? They shoved the contract down their throat. Then take it or leave it. Take it, or you can leave. Yeah. So they're not really a friend to labor. And I'm saying this as a union member of a national union, because it was brought to me on the first day when you went on a job. Hey, you can pay dues and be a member, or you can pay dues and not be a member, but it's up to you. I said, well, that sounds like extortion, which it is, in my opinion. Yeah, and that's the way it's a close. But here's how it works: the company is in bed with the union, at least where I work. And, it's like you got to pay dues and to work for that company. So.
Interesting stuff. A lot of good points. Yeah, a lot of good points. Appreciate your phone call on that aspect this morning.
All right, guys. Just another side flip of the coin.
I like it. I like it. So
something to think about. All right. Love the show, guys.
Appreciate that. 601-485-9191. Appreciate all the phone calls rolling in this morning. Let's go back to line 1. Hey, caller. Good morning.
Hey, y'all. It's Paul.
Hello, Mr. Tava.
I hope you guys are doing well. I tried to call in Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember which one it was. I want to make a point. You know what? I think what offends people about this whole thing with the strike is that it comes right on the heels of a hurricane that wiped out a significant chunk of the country, and tightening supply chains at this time will make the prices over there go up even higher, which in my mind feels a lot like price gouging during, natural disasters. And I think it's a question that people sit around going, hey, you guys can't read the room. We got to, I ain't worried about don't have power, still don't have food, or don't have, bare necessities. And they're over there just yelling and screaming about, we shut it down. We're going to shut it down until it's done, and I don't know. I think that's where the optics of this are really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, because we got folks literally, like you said, that are stranded, still waiting on help, and then we get the Department of Homeland Security or whatever. Mayorkas is saying that they don't have funds in FEMA if another storm hits.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, and then you got on top of that, if you have local citizens like we have done in Meridian in multiple occasions, load up trailers and send stuff. You know, now everything we're concerned because now we're concerned of shortages on our end.
correct. Yeah.
I mean, how can you share when there's a shortage? And it's all because the timing sucks. I think that's what the whole thing is about.
Yeah, it's a lot of variables that roll into it for sure. So
that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I understand their right to do what they want to do, but I just think nobody there, and especially this cat out of New Jersey, have the ability to read the room and go, "Yeah, that's a good time." You know?
He's involved in one of the 5 families. You know what I'm saying? Hey, forget about it.
man.
He's a made man. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of decision you make when you're sitting on your yacht, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. The
72 foot.
The name of the yacht is the Obsession.
Okay. Well, I wonder how many union members have yachts.
I don't know. Some of them are making 200,000 plus a year.
About to say.
Maybe a couple, but we got
Well,
sailboats
maybe
anyway.
that's what they're shooting for. I don't know.
Who knows?
But let me ask you one more question about this.
Yeah.
If you go on strike and you down everything because you're scared of automation, what's one of the first things that happens when people can't depend on their regular labor sources?
Automation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask McDonald's about that.
Right.
Yeah. And
You
that's
go to
what I said.
$25 an hour for a front person taking orders. What do? They put in kiosk.
Sure. And the kiosks don't call in sick. They don't ask for
Nope.
raises. You know, they require a little maintenance, and maybe some upgrading, but it's a lot more reliable.
Yeah.
I said, after this guy had this 2-3 minute rant, that's the best argument for automation that I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen kiosks go on strike.
Nope.
Never seen it.
I'd like to see that.
It'd be interesting.
Can you see kiosks marching outside of McDonald's? Yeah, that would be funny.
We
All
are.
right, I'm gonna leave you.
I think that ice cream machine goes on strike.
All right, thanks, sir.
Well, the ice cream machine is a whole nother ball.
That's on permanent. Yeah.
I think those are all made in New Jersey.
It may be. So, all right, Mr. Tarver, appreciate this morning. 601-485-9191. Let's go to line 2. Hey, caller, thanks for ringing up. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. I come in peace, love everybody, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hello, sir. How are you?
All right. Now, out of my 10 years working with Roadway and the Teamsters here in Ohio, I've gone through 2 strikes. And going to the Union Hall, when you see, now this was I started with them in 79. So this was 4 years after Jimmy Hoffa went missing. And they still have not found any body parts of it. Okay. And on those union meetings, I tell you now, me being old Southern boy, getting up there, you watch all these black tinted, one covered Lincoln Continentals and Cadillacs roll up to the Union Hall. These Italian guys get out in their Armani suits. And you look at it, you say, whoa, what have I gotten myself into? But when you sit down and they say, look, they say, all we did is make the company open up their books. So what we asking for is in line with the profits that's been made. And they always say it's not shared fairly. So they say, we don't make up these numbers. These are the company's numbers that they gave us. And if any of them would come to this meeting, they could attest, is this their numbers or not? So this is what we're looking at. And this is what we need to do. And like the last caller alluded to, when you spread it out with inflation and everything you're looking at, and it's true that the union is what gave America the middle class. So you always had your business people, companies, and then the workers. For a long time, there was no middle class. The union came in there, created the middle class. Did they tilt too far with it? I don't know. But when you look at a number thing, it comes down to that. Now, I'm going to jump a little bit. what this should do now, looking at this strike on that port, it should make businessmen want to come back and open up in America again. You know, because this part of everything, there's a reaction to everything. So when they started that North American trade agreement and used the military complex and built factories all over the world, even down in the rainforest, you know, the Amazon, that was the benefit corporation. So when we talk about shysters and whatnot, you know, you got some big corporation that controls stuff. So it's a balancing act. So when people get emotional about it, to me, I always look forward. And I said, now it's time to bring some of them companies back to Meridian. I mean, not Meridian. Yeah, bring them back to Meridian.
We want them in Meridian.
But, you know, we still got something hanging over our head there called a Certified Retirement Center. So until we break that mold and get whoever's involved with that, Meridian, you know, is seeing the results of that oppression. That's another one of them elephant and giraffe in the room that we have to sit down and have an honest conversation about.
You know, Mr. James, I was thinking about when you brought up NAFTA. My father worked out at the Delco Remy plant here in Meridian for a good number of years, and I remember when NAFTA hit, and that caused the closing of that plant here in Meridian. Of course, all those jobs, all those factories, as you said, went all over the world, especially south of the border.
Why?
Well, the North American Free Trade Agreement, I believe, is
because unions demanded a certain wage, and they went south where they didn't have to pay that wage.
Exactly.
So the unions are the ones that forced that. Don't you think?
Yeah,
to some extent.
To some extent, yeah.
You know,
but I remember that just like yesterday. I remember him coming home and saying, "Hey, they're closing the plant." And I'm like, "Wow." So
yeah.
And also part of that was they served out their allotted time that they got the tax break to come to Meridian. So nothing is just never a one item shot. You know, there's 2 or 3 angles on everything. And if people's not in the know to know what's going on, it's easy to bash one side. That's where we got to have some honest conversation.
I just know it was probably very intimidating to see those Lincolns and those Cadillacs rolling up and those guys in them suits, Armani suits. I bet it was pretty intimidating.
Hey, with all dark tinted windows, you know, stuff we would say is illegal. I mean, it was so darkly tinted. And hey, I started with them in '79. So I think in '80 was the first. We did a 1-day strike. And then I think we did a couple of week strikes. And when they roll up there, I'm like, what have I gotten myself into?
I'm going to say yes, sir, and no, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, now I'll let you go. The first strike vote that I went to, it was like 20, let's say 25 in the room. So you striking whether we're going to strike at this time. I voted no. Because I said, hey, I need my job. I need this, so I voted no. Well, when they read the results, they said we had 25 yes votes. And I asked the guy sitting next to me, I said, well, what happened to my no vote? You know, it should have been 24-1, if nothing else. He said, oh, we got to be in solidarity, so we got to give this strong front.
Wow.
Yeah.
So time go on. That was the first vote. The second vote, you know, everybody rallying, you know, hey, let's strike, let's walk. Well, when that final vote came that, hey, we're going to walk. Yeah, oh, man, I got a house note to pay. I got a kid in college. I can't strike.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of fluff in that first, maybe the second strike vote. But I'm glad I went through it. Another experience in my life. Like I say, me being a workaholic from Meridian and my dad from the South, plus my dad, he was my first boss. So he conditioned me to work hard. So I've just always worked hard. And like I tell people, you know, the time I spent in Cincinnati, there was never a time that I worked less than 2 jobs.
There you go.
Because when I learned that principle, hey, if you do something that you like, you never work a day in your life. You're just getting paid for your hobby.
There you go. Well, sir, we got to run. We got to run here up against a break. But hey, always appreciate you checking in.
All right, take care.
Thanks, James.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be back.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now.
And we had to squeeze that one in this morning. Lindsey Buckingham turning 75 today. Yeah, Clark, that there's an RV.
RV.
They took my house. I took the RV.
We live in it.
Don't forget the rubber sheets and the gerbils.
Oh, wow.
601-485-9191. I still love the line from Vegas Vacation we played earlier this week, especially after the debate last night in Vegas Vacation, where he says, I hadn't seen a beating that bad since someone put a banana in my pants and turned a monkey loose.
Randy Quaid.
Love it.
An American treasure. That's for sure.
Absolutely. He's a little kooky now, but he's still around. So.
Yeah.
22 minutes away from 9 o'clock. We got a caller on the line. Caller, hang tight with us real quick because we got to thank the Carr family down at Trucker Supply, one of our favorites here in town. When it comes to truck parts and Yeti, they got you covered.
That's right. They've got everything you need for tools. One-stop shop for all your tools. They got Knipex tools like channel locks on steroids. And, of course, a full room of Milwaukee tools. You know, we're 82 days.
TikTok.
Yeah, away from Christmas. And who doesn't want a Milwaukee tool for Christmas? Well, I know I do, but they've got the cordless power tools, saws, drills, impact drills, sanders, grinders, cutters, routers, grease guns, and more. And all of those have those interchangeable batteries, so use them with anything. And of course, they do have Yeti, as you mentioned. They've got Yeti mugs, coolers of every size, the lunch boxes, and of course, they even have Yeti dog dishes. You want to get the pooch a little something? That's right. Get them a dog dish. And they also have replacement parts for your Yeti. You need a new lid for your Yeti mug? They got them down there as well.
I got to get a new lid, so thanks for the reminder.
You need to go down there and see the cars at Truckers, 519 Highway 19 South, right next to the Golden Arches. And, of course, you can always check them online, truckersupply.com. Make it a Trucker Supply Christmas.
All right. Caller, good morning. Thanks for holding.
Lefty had to call in with a second comment, y'all.
Ooh, number 2.
All right, come on.
He's talking about your dad coming home, giving y'all the bad news about Delco Remy.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's not forget who decided to put NAFTA in play. It was our good old buddy Bill, wasn't it?
Absolutely. My father.
That's exactly right. Good old Democrat.
Yeah.
Democrat Bill Clinton.
My
There
father,
you go, right there.
my father, rest his soul. He never had a single thing good to say about the Clintons after that. So
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure when when it affects your wallet on what the Democrats do, it kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth for the rest of your life.
still does to this day.
Didn't he also introduce GATT and CAFTA?
I'll have to go back and look at them, but it wouldn't surprise me.
What was the CAFTA Central American Free Trade Agreement?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think all three of them fell under good old Bill.
Yeah.
Old Bill Clinton.
Good old,
BOS.
good old American first policies, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's got to be America first when you open up the world to America, and especially there's more going than coming.
Well, you know what I think about this, and I was just thinking about this during the commercial break as we've been talking about this port strike, which is in day 3 now. It should be very eye-opening to Americans, the regular everyday American, that we should now question how much is actually coming in from overseas and not being manufactured and made in the USA.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that should be an eye-opening deal right there.
Well, not only does it
Like
affect
I said,
the
when I
imports,
was in Walmart last week, I was looking at or China Mart, I should say. Even the shoe polish. The shoe polish is made in China. We can't make damn shoe polish here and sell. I mean, it's pathetic, y'all, when you think about it. We got to import shoe polish.
Yeah.
From China, a communist country.
Yeah.
I mean, that just strikes me as something's wrong with that. It's anytime we buy anything from China, it props up and supports a country that is completely against our morals. I mean, when you really think about it, it just hurts me every time. If there was another alternative, something, when I go to purchase something, if there's something made in America, the same product, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And there's no way. This is like old Jackie Gleason said, there's no way I remember buying anything made in Vietnam. No way. They're still just as communist now as they were 50 years ago when 58,000 of our men died fighting them, Have we ever gotten an apology for that?
Hadn't checked.
Like Japan apologizing, huh?
Yeah, I hadn't checked the mail lately.
Yep. Haven't sent it one anyway.
But anyway, on a happier note, I can't help but when you bring up any of the Chevy Chase vacation movies, I can't. Just the picture of who was it? Randy Quaid out there in that light blue
the leisure suit. Yep.
Merry Christmas, Clark. And y'all know the rest of it.
Yep.
There with that sewer hose going into the.
If that cat had, if that cat had 9 lives, she just spat them all. Woo!
That was the funniest time. I said, "Morning, Clark. Merry Christmas."
It's a classic. I love it. It's not. Of course, it's going to be back here soon. So
yeah, you know it.
Yeah, before you know it, this year's
Couple
just
weeks.
about gone.
That's right.
1 day closer to election day.
Oh,
Thank
gosh.
goodness.
Yep, 33 days.
33 days. All right. Well, I just had to call in real quick, and I just want everybody to remember where those wonderful policies came from? The Democrats.
There you go.
Democrats. Pro-American Democrat Party.
How about that? All right, Lefty.
Have a good one.
See ya. All right, 601-485-9191 if you want to chime in here.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about the imports coming in on those boats or on the docks. But there's a lot of exports that are not going out either. And so anything that we do manufacture in this country that we send overseas, well, guess what? They're sitting on the dock as well. So that's another part of this, another component. But, you know, you look at shoe polish. I mean, you're paying somebody 10 cents an hour in China. I mean, they can't compete with our, $15 an hour minimum wage in California, various places like that. So, I mean, that's sort of, unfortunately, the cost of those policies as well. I'm not saying that we should pay anybody 15 cents an hour, but put the tariffs in place, like Trump says, even the playing field. Yeah.
Let's go back to the phone line. Phone calls ringing up. Line 1. Hey, caller. Good morning.
This is the old beach bum.
Hey, beach bum. What's up?
I want people to think about the people on fixed income and the people that have retired and ain't drawing a big check. They don't get a 70% raise. All these union workers, UPS and all strike when they living above their means. They could get rid of some of their toys they're buying. They don't need their toys right now. They all got side-by-sides, boats, campers, RVs, motorcycles. They need to learn to live what they're making with. Because the Social Security people don't get a 70% raise.
No.
And then people that storm ain't still getting no raise. And we can pull together and help people in bad times. And these greedy union workers, they already overpaid as they are. Because there ain't no car worth $70,000, $80,000.
There you go.
No way. So they need to think about the people on fixed income when they get greedy and want more money.
There you
Because
go.
they living above their means, live from paycheck to paycheck, not because you got too many toys. Get rid of some of your toys.
All right, beach bum. Appreciate you out there.
Man, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right, y'all do a good job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, they just showed a video up on Fox News a second ago of all the shipping containers just
piling up,
sitting there on the dock right now. And the workers obviously behind the Fox News report. Yeah, 36 major ports shut down as strike hits day 3. So
I wonder how many ships are out there in the ocean just waiting, circling, and just trying to get in.
All right, let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, sir, how are you?
I was leaving Walmart yesterday, and I seen a big old sign somebody stuck out there in the grass. And it said, if you got one youngin', I get you so much money. If you got 2 youngins, I get you so much money. If you got 3 youngins, let me do your taxes, and I get you a $12,000 something income tax check.
Wow.
Wow.
12,000 and something if you got 3 youngins.
Gee whiz.
Now, 1970, I got married somewhere along that area, and I had 2 youngins with no insurance. Nobody had insurance back then unless you worked for Flint Coat or some big time outfit around here. It cost me $100 a week. I had to buy gas, alternator, starter, tires, battery, lights, water, gas, fuel, all the house notes and everything else out of $100 a week. When I had my babies, it cost $500 something a piece, or $600 something for one of them. But you had to pay it before they was born. At least that's working folks did.
Wow.
And we made it on $100 a week. I don't know how we did it, but we did.
And look how far that stretches now. Not very far at all.
Yeah, well, you have a side-by-side motorcycle and boat.
Yeah.
I know gas was 50 cents a gallon back then, but it says when you don't make $100 a week.
Yeah.
Now you make $200-300 a week flipping hamburgers at McDonald's.
Times they have changed.
You're right. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your call this morning. So, but yeah, I mean, last 2 callers, I mean, they can't be more right. I mean, especially folks that are, retired and living on fixed incomes. I mean, those checks that come monthly for Social Security and whatnot, there's no raises there. So, but that's part of that process, unfortunately. And And yeah, that sign being there outside of one of the Wally worlds, that's interesting as well. So
it is, and it's always sobering to kind of hear that. It almost gets spiritual and religious to say, what do we really need? Do we need all those things? No, we don't. Some food, shelter, and the good Lord above, and what more? Do we need all these other things? No, we don't. And we just strive and strive, and that's kind of our society. More and more, consume.
And a lot of folks is keeping up with Joneses too, and that's another part of the discussion.
Yeah.
That is a little uncomfortable at times for some folks. But anyway, another subject for another day.
Yeah, indeed. Okay.
10 minutes away for the 9 o'clock hour. And hey, if you have all those toys and then some, you better have insurance on, because you never know what's going to happen. And a good insurance agent to talk to is our good buddy, Jeffrey Wilson, State Farm.
That's right. He will protect your assets. And here you go. When you combine your State Farm home and auto, you can save an average of $889. Buy some nice stuff with that too. Or you can actually save it. But anyway, whatever you wanted to do. But call Jeffrey Wilson today, and he's ready to help you combine your home and auto. Save right here in Meridian, 601-483-8253. And Jeffrey Wilson is a good neighbor. You see him all over town. He's involved in so many different civic organizations. I mean, he is pretty much everywhere every time you see anything going on. And it's so important that you know your insurance agent, because when you need them, they'll be an advocate for you and get you the money that you have paid into so that your assets are protected. He'll sit down with you once a year, kind of evaluate all your needs. You can add a little, subtract a little, possibly save you even more money, but certainly make sure that you are protected against any of these events that can happen. Give him a call or go see him. His office is conveniently located at 2401 Highway 39 North. His number again, 601-483-8253. Like a good neighbor, Jeffrey Wilson is there.
All right, I know we got some more calls ringing up. We need to take this break. Shout at us on the other side of the break, because we got to pay the bills, and we'll be back in just a minute. Stay close.
sings a song.
I wonder if this is what the dock workers are playing over the speakers as they strike. We're not going to take it anymore.
Not going to take your settlement. We're not going to take $200,000 a year.
We're not going
anymore.
to take it. We're
just not going to take it. Darn.
About 6 minutes away from 9 o'clock and some Glenn Beck, and appreciate you being a part of our Thursday morning with us. And of course, we'll have Clay and Buck right after that at 11. The angry and sometimes just a little too unhappy Sean Hannity at 2 o'clock. Then my man Joe Pags on your drive home. So we need to head down to 22nd Avenue and Sela Ward Calhoun Parkway and talk about our friends at A&A Glass.
Adam and Adam, 217 22nd Avenue, just 2 doors down from the Meridian Children's Museum, is where you will find the #1 glass replacement company here in town. Have been like 15 years, 20, 30, 100 years in a row. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been forever. Give them a call, 601-693-GLASS. You know, they'll beat any price in town. They'll work with your insurance company. Fast, friendly, efficient, and they got great T-shirts too. 601-693-GLASS. Go see them. And, you know, if you've got that little peck, little crack, fix it before it becomes a big crack and you got to replace the whole thing. They will do the repair as well. A&A Glass, open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, conveniently located on Sela Ward
Calhoun
Parkway, 217. And their number again, 601-693-GLASS.
You know, I don't know if it's a good idea for Joe Biden to call people brain dead, but he did that yesterday.
Well, it takes one to know one.
I'm about to say.
He's an expert in that regard.
Biden, of course, he flew over the Carolinas yesterday.
Kind of napped. And,
and when he gets to the ground, he's meeting with FEMA folks there. And this is some comments he made at the tail end of the, I guess, presser, whatever you want to call it, little event that he had when he finally landed Air Force One yesterday. But listen to the comments from Joe Biden about climate change.
Oh, here we go.
Nobody can deny the impact of climate crisis anymore. At least I hope they don't. They must be brain dead if they do. Scientists report that with warming oceans powering more intense rains, storms like Helene are getting stronger and stronger. Not going to get less. They're going to get stronger. Today in North Carolina, I saw the impacts of that fury. Massive trees uprooted, homes literally swept off their foundations, swept down rivers. You know, families are heartbroken, but there are also neighbors help neighbors. Talking about over here in the automobile. It's amazing when people step up when people are in need.
So he is going to have an event there talking to the press and lecture everybody about climate change when folks at this point in North Carolina, South Carolina, and East Tennessee and all those other points, they don't care about that right now, President Biden.
They want some water.
They need help.
Yeah.
So let's put the climate change crisis on the back burner and quit pushing that narrative for right now. And let's.
It's just weird, I think.
Let's just, that's the wrong time, wrong
yeah.
place, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the other night in the debate. The second question of the night was about climate change and trying to tie in Hurricane Helene into climate change.
Right.
And I'm like, give me a break.
Sure.
I mean, come on. This issue.
You know where it leads. And
you know exactly where it leads. And I wanted to save that audio here for the tail end of the show because I know we spent a lot of time on the strike this morning. But, man, I mean, come on. 1% of voters in the U.S. think about that issue as being their number one issue. That's 1% of registered voters think about climate change, and that's important to them. So let's kind of get the priorities straight and help these people instead of shoving that down our throat again.
Sure. And, Biden's comment about Americans helping Americans, that's what we do. I mean,
Duh.
that is who we are. And, okay, great. He was kind of giving props to those who are doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's always great that we kind of recognize that. But I mean, that is who we are as a nation.
Yeah.
And that's what we're known for. And so, once again, we're doing that and should be. Although I hear a lot of strange reports about FEMA limiting the amount of help they can do. I don't know if that's kind of hearsay or what's going on. I don't know if you've seen that on Twitter. I've seen it. So you got to kind of keep take that with a big grain of salt. But I think they're trying to control the amount of aid going in and who's doing it and that sort of thing. And it may be a looting issue or something else, but still.
If you want to see folks helping others, just go to those areas, because a lot of people in the South, we all help each other, and that's what's happening.
Florida still has a lot of issues too. We can't negate that and say, oh, we just got to focus on North Carolina. You know, all up the coast, but especially Florida is still reeling from that hurricane.
But it is scary, though, to hear one of our the DHS secretaries say that FEMA doesn't have the funds if another storm strikes.
Yeah, because we gave them all to.
That's very alarming. Well, not just Zelensky, but all the money spending on illegal immigration in this country.
Of course.
But anyway, we'll get into that more tomorrow. Charles, appreciate you coming in an extra day this week, and hopefully that Burt guy will be back soon.
Yeah, maybe.
But folks, have a good rest of your day. Glenn Beck is next, and what do we always say?
Buy local.